Again, there are those who say this is punishment, we're not behaving, we don't take shul seriously enough, and that's why God doesn't want us in shul anymore. We're not kind enough, we're not honest enough, we cheat in business, we're not modest enough. That is so nasty, to blame the victim for his own pain, even if it were true that the person actually was playing, and even so, where's the compassion? Even if a person did misbehave and got himself into trouble, we argue with God that the person does not deserve to be punished. Like Avraham did when God said, I'm going to destroy Sodom. Avraham argued. Why else is God telling you? He needs your approval. He wants you to argue. He wants you to present a case in favor of the wicked. Find something redeeming, something good about them that earns them the right to continue living rather than getting punished. That's the Jewish way. So the thought that this might be a punishment, that God is unhappy with us, that's completely ridiculous. For a very simple reason, just common sense. It's been 3,000 years since God spoke to us at Mount Sinai. 3,332 years to be exact. That's a long time. What happened when God did speak to us at Mount Sinai? He asked us to become His, like a wedding. And of course, we agreed. After that, God gave us 2,000 years of uninterrupted misery. An unbelievable history of unbelievable suffering. So 3,000 years He doesn't speak to us. 2,000 years of those 3,000 have miserable, painful, frightening, horrifying. Is it possible that God is now going to be angry with us because we're not perfect in the performance of mitzvahs? If you believe that God is capable of reacting to your sins, then you must also believe that God is capable of changing His mind. So there are times when punishment applies, when the Torah says or God says, if you do this, this will be your punishment. There are times when that actually applies, but there must also be times when it doesn't apply. Because before you punish someone, you have to take the circumstances into account. Extenuating circumstances means you don't get punished. So I don't think Jews have done anything terrible to deserve punishment. And even if they did it, we have to argue in their favor that despite their sin, they don't deserve that kind of punishment. That's our job. When we see someone is hungry, it's our job to feed him. Oh, why don't you complain to the boss who created it all? So how could God possibly be angry at us? How can God have any complaints to us after 3,000 years of not hearing from Him, 2,000 years of absolute misery? So yeah, we're not like our grandparents. We're not as devoted. We're not as holy. We're not as steeped. But how can you expect us to be? So God can't possibly be angry at us in the first place. And then punish? God forbid. That's suggesting that God is a monster. I made them promise to be good Jews 3,000 years ago. I'm not talking to them again. They're going to have to make it on their own. And I'm going to put them through living hell for 2,000 years. And then if they're not keeping their promise, I'm going to be really angry and I'm going to have to punish them. It sounds ridiculous. It is ridiculous. God is not angry. God is absolutely pleasantly surprised by how loyal Jews are, how devoted we remain, despite all of the above. So no, we don't deserve punishment. What we deserve is a lot of reward. And part of the reason we deserve a lot of reward is because we're not asking for it. We don't serve God. We don't put on tefillin. We don't light Shabbos candles in order to get to heaven. So we should take all of this as a big compliment. God is pleased with his people. How can he not be? And we should reciprocate. Prove God right. He doesn't have to speak to us every month at Mount Sinai for a progress report or quality control. He doesn't have to. He gave us the Torah. We heard it. We got it. We're doing it. Not perfectly. You expect perfection after 2,000 years of misery? No. On the contrary, anyone who does a mitzvah today, any parent who tells their children, we are Jews, is already a hero. Where is this devotion coming from? After all this time and after all this suffering? It's important to you that your children should know that they're Jews? Why not give it up already? Let it go. Hasn't been a picnic. And we're not letting it go. We're not. There's something very, very impressive about that. So not only don't we deserve punishment, we actually deserve all the rewards in the world, because despite everything, we are as loyal today to God as our ancestors were in the generation that came out of Egypt.